You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of truth, a dimension of freedom, a dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the Capitalist Corner.
Folks, where reason meets reality, we hope we are your island of reason in a sea of irrationality. We are the Capitalist Corner. I'm your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and the vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Liebowitz, who's also a very busy man hosting a billion shows out there every single day. The Rational Egoist, we got the Daily Values. I know I fucked that up somehow. And we also have Self-Made Soul.
Somehow?
We got all these shows that Michael Liebowitz is doing very quickly, I hope, becoming an internet sensation, because that's what needs to happen, because all of these ideas need to be out there in the world in a much bigger fashion than they are today. What's going on with the Rational Egoist? What's going on with
we got the same episode out right now with Jim Valiant, where we take apart so-called anarcho-objectivism. I highly recommend this episode. Very, very good.
You're getting some pushback, I noticed online from this.
Yeah, a little bit. The problem is these are young guys, and as young guys usually are, they're far more certain of things than what their actual knowledge justifies. I mean,
the vanity of youth, my friend.
Yeah, I've been there. You've been there. Doesn't make it any less annoying for me to deal with. I'm trying to be patient. I think maybe Jim Valiant should be the one to talk to these guys, because I just get aggravated sometimes. I'm like, dude, just get the fuck out of here, But yeah, so I got that. I got a good episode coming out too, with the Rational Egoist. I interviewed a guy, an entrepreneur who had previously done prison time. So it's a good episode. It was a nice conversation about entrepreneurship. That should be out tomorrow. Coming in the future, I've got more stuff with Jim Valiant on objectivism as a self-help philosophy. I've got the historian David Beto coming on to talk about FDR, his book about FDR. So all kinds of stuff. And today at 2:30, Everyday Ethics.
That's it. That's what it's called.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, be there or be square, folks. Check it out.
Persephone also gave me something, and I forgot to look at it. About
go ahead.
About sharing Patreon or so. Can I do that right now, Persephone? I think she said probably. I'm not sure.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to say, Michael, we should bring some of your prison buddies on to Self-Made Soul, because the guys who have really, really changed, don't give me that look. The guys who have really, really changed, I mean, are examples like you of somebody who've come from someplace that should have determined outcomes according to popular culture, but you defied all of those outcomes.
I'll work on getting Carlos on for sure.
That's what I mean. Carlos. We'll have Carlos on. Plus, Lee loves Carlos, apparently. So and that will bring Lee over to our show, because Lee, I don't think, has been crossing over.
Is that acceptable? Is that acceptable?
No. If you are a fan of this show, which you should be liking and subscribing to right now, folks, we have a like deficit, so please like and subscribe to the show. Also, share it from YouTube across social media platforms. I also have to give our typical disclaimer. We are not affiliated with the American Capitalist Party, although we are both members of the American Capitalist Party. We're just two dudes talking about stuff from a capitalist perspective. And oftentimes you will see that we differ on things, just like objectivists differ, across multiple spectrums. Usually I'm right, Michael's wrong. That's just the way things work. So Michael, the first article I wanted to deal with was something interesting, because this has some crossover effect with a project that I was doing many years ago, and I'm still trying to get off the ground. This was from the Daily Digest. Australia seems to be really going down the tubes with respect to liberty, but here's the article in sum, folks. Australian social media ban. Australia's nationwide ban on social media use for children under 16 takes effect today, making it the first country to prohibit underage users from major platforms outright. Millions of accounts are expected to be affected as companies such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, and X face fines of up to $33 million for serious or repeated non-compliance. The law places responsibility on companies rather than families, and platforms must demonstrate that they have taken reasonable steps. That can be interpreted in any number of ways, such as age checks and the removal of suspected underage accounts. Some countries have taken similar steps, such as strict youth modes or time limits. The measure is cast as a child protection and mental health safeguard, citing research showing 96% of 10 to 15-year-olds use social media, with many encountering harmful content, grooming, or cyberbullying. Critics say the law is difficult to enforce, may push teens into harder to monitor platforms, and poses privacy risks. That's some of the least of the problems that I see with this issue. What say you, Michael?
I just think it's stupid. I think the problem is once you bring kids into things, everybody's heartstrings get tugged on. But this is the responsibility of the parents, in my view. And first of all, I don't think they can actually police it. That's the the big thing. There's going to end up being lawsuits where people. No, Persephone. I wasn't suggesting it right now, but you can do it, right? I have to do it. All right. Never mind all that, folks. Persephone is not being helpful right now. So, yeah, like kids are going to find a way to get on these things. They have cousins, older brothers, whatever. Their parents will probably even put them on the freaking thing. It's just, this is the parents' responsibility. People just want the government to fix everything, and the government simply cannot do that.
So a while back, when I was really in the up to my neck in the Guardian Project, I wrote a series of proposals that I thought I would propose to companies. One of which was restricting the age of people that could come onto social media. Now, none of this was going to be government enacted. It would be suggestions to companies to police the toxicity online. Now, Michael, for me, I discovered for about 2-year period of time that some of the most abusive and horrific bullies online were people that were in the age from about 13 to 16 years of age. And I thought, these people have no business being online. And I created this organization that I thought would help to organize private business to work for its own benefit, right? If this toxicity level is getting so bad, businesses could do something about it without pressure from the government. More than anything, I wanted to provide a platform for parents that they could also see for themselves, maybe a few standards that they could adopt in their own lives for their own children. And that's what has to happen, folks. The government can't parent your child. You have to parent your child. That means you have to grow a pair and not let them be on social media, which is truly a toxic atmosphere where anything is available to them. Look, there's probably a great market in apps that can monitor your child's use of the internet. Use those. You're a parent. That's what you do. You are responsible for your child's well-being, not the government. And that goes across every spectrum of human action, Michael. The government seems to believe that we human beings are not in control of our own actions. The government has to be our parent. When they do that, folks, they not only take away your moral agency, they deprive you of liberty, political liberty. You are now less free in Australia than you were before. Even if you think there are superficial benefits to this law, that it needs to happen, it's making up for bad parenting, irresponsible people not doing what they need to do for their children. And those people, frankly, need to feel the repercussions of their actions. And the good parents shouldn't be penalized by laws like this, which prevent them from being good parents, in my view.
It's been pointed out that whenever you wear that cap, that you are on fire. I think there might be something to that, because you're making a lot of sense today. That's very good. I like the idea, and I think that this gets looked past too much. The idea of private companies taking responsibility to monitor things rather than having the government do it. I think that's a good idea. So
isn't that a good selling point? I mean, if a social media company was responsible not only for its content, for the age of the people that came on, that's an advertising point. Just like the safety record of, say, Qantas would be a major advertising point were it not for the FAA, right? That's supposed to oversee all of our safety. The fact that Qantas has never had a major air accident ever in its history.
I don't even know what that is. What is Qantas?
Qantas is the airline that fundamentally goes to Australia. So
this is one of those rich airlines that you and your buddies get on. Okay, I know, I get it. It's high end, that sort of thing.
Everybody uses Qantas, but it's a selling point. Safety is a selling point, and a social media company that says, "Look, we don't think it's appropriate for minors to be on the social media platform because of the information it exposes them to, and so we will do our utmost to sift through, the information to sort out, to distill those people out of our social media." I would, as a parent, love that corporation. I would pursue that corporation as much as possible, in addition to my own checks for my own kids' well-being and safety. I think it's a selling point. Government, get out of everybody's life, man.
Have you ever been in handcuffs? I don't mean in a kinky way. I mean, like, been arrested?
Yes.
Did you notice that? I'll tell you why in a second. Did you ever notice that the second you get handcuffed, all of a sudden your nose starts itching?
No, but I can imagine that. I have that experience when I have to be dead on camera and the camera, swipes by me and I'm not supposed to breathe or move. My nose itches. I got to take a deep breath. I'm
so aggravating.
I'm fine until the camera starts rolling, and then I want to do all the things I'm not.
Like, you're in cuffs, and all of a sudden you're like, trying to do all kinds of weird things just to scratch the nose. I thought about it because I got a thing where my back itches a lot. I should just buy a back scratcher. I don't know why I don't. They have them. That should be something I do. But,
it's called fungi, Michael. That's what it's called. Fungi. You have fungi on your back, and you need to actually use Selsun shampoo, scrub it down there, and you'll.
How do you know that you come up with all these things? Last time you had me taking this medication, it's all this whacked out weirdo hippie stuff.
Guys in the chat, please send super fucking chats and super fucking stickers here, because
I need a back scratcher for my fungi.
He needs a back scratcher, and he needs Selsun shampoo to get rid of the fungi on his back. Hey,
why do you say fungi? It's fungi, not fungi.
Because
are you afraid if you say fungi, people are going to get the wrong idea?
The number of words you mispronounce that I barely catch you on.
That's true. You're right. No, you got a point there.
Look, Persephone says, I question whether that would be a selling point given the pushback on things that already have age restrictions. I don't understand that. Could you unpack that for me, Michael, and or Persephone? Please unpack that for me. What pushback are you talking about specifically? Because age restrictions for things are good. They're arbitrary in the sense that we have to come up with some sort of legal boundary by which, we measure somebody's individual responsibility, so they're a little bit hard to come up with objective standards for that, but nevertheless we need them for legal purposes.
Look at this.
Mark is French, that's why. Akira, I am not French. Oh, is this a super fucking sticker? Thank you very much, Teresa. We appreciate you so much for that.
She's awesome, by the way. Teresa's awesome. Look at this.
Thank you, Kathy, for a super fucking shack for
that is a back scratcher
for Michael's itchy back. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So Australia has been since COVID, and maybe it's been before COVID. Maybe this kind of tyrannizing of the public through these laws has been happening before COVID, but since COVID, Australia seems to be going down the wrong track, and it doesn't seem to be reversing course, as is the case when you come up with these onerous laws, Michael. They don't seem to backtrack. They just push tyranny a little bit further, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to get rid of these laws.
It does. And so it's fungi in American English and fungi in British English.
I prefer British English.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
So you tell people you're going to go to the loo? Do you say I got to go to the loo?
I do.
Come on.
Of course I do.
I've been with you when you had to go, and you didn't say I'm going to the loo.
I say sometimes I'm going to the loo. Where's the loo?
If that was your preference, that would be occurring more often than not. I've never heard you say loo.
Not around me 24/7.
I got to be around you 24/7 to know what your regular usage is?
Of course.
That's Todd Swallop.
No, it's not. That's not.
No, yeah.
Problem of induction.
I'm Mark Pellegrino. I'm headed off to the loo.
Yeah.
Next thing you're gonna does your valet help you get dressed in the morning?
Valet, very good. So, guys, you sent me this tweet from Republicans Against Trump, who I now follow. By the way, I might subscribe to them as a matter of fact. Thank you, Nicole, very much for the super fucking sticker. $3. I think, Michael, your medical needs are now taken care of.
Awesome.
Trump says he knows very little about former Honduran President Hernandez, whom he pardoned last week. Asked whether pardoning someone sentenced to 45 years for flooding the U.S. with cocaine sends the wrong message to drug dealers. Trump, what do you think he said?
He doesn't really know the guy. He doesn't know much about him.
When asked if it's a contradiction to everything that he's been.
He said no.
He said no. He said no. Of course he said no. But did you? So also he says this, Michael, which is sort of also representative of that corruption deal that he just went through with that congressperson. He said basically somebody told him. I was told he was treated unfairly. This is right. Yeah. This is perfect. I was told by somebody I trust that he was treated unfairly. And because I relate to that, because of the way I was treated.
He went right into himself.
The election stolen from me. I was indicted, but here I am, right in the White House, still here. Here I am. He made it right about himself. All because of that. His own internal biases made him take this guy and pardon him. Just like he did with this representative, Michael. From what I understood, this guy was convicted. This representative was convicted of corruption. Both he and his wife were convicted of corruption. They were, and I guess the president received a letter from the representative's daughter, and implied in the letter was that you got sort of an ally in this guy. You really should let him go, and he votes for you all the time, and he votes for your policies all the time. And maybe, just maybe, I think it was hinted he might turn Republican if you let him go. And that's why he pardoned him. And that's why he also made the comment, you're not trustworthy, you're not loyal, and that's bad for you and bad for your daughter, because he had gotten his information from the daughter of the convicted felon. This is what we're dealing with, guys. Somebody who can't see past his own motivations for anything.
And this is the guy, by the way, that David Harriman and Andy Bernstein say is the hero.
Best president of all time and a hero. Now, Michael, it should be self-evident at this point that he is none of the above. He is neither a hero nor the best president of all time.
No, there's just one of the things, like, I'll give you an example. They were talking the other day on Facebook, and somebody says, one of the objectivists that follow Andy said that Trump is fighting up back against the Democratic Party's something about strategy of combining Marxism with Islamism. And, that's what the Democratic Party's doing now. And I just said to him, provide your evidence. Now, I'm not saying you don't have these people out there. I think they're fringe. The mainstream Democratic Party is not looking to unite Marxism and Islamism. It's just not true. But in their world, it's an absolute fact. So if I'm under the impression that Marxist Islamists are getting ready to take over the country at any moment, I'm like, we have to fight this, somehow. And that is largely, that's just one instance, but it's just misinformation or disinformation, whatever the word is, all the time, that leads people to these types of conclusions.
Well, Michael, it's the conspiracy theory notion of it all, that it's an organized program, and it's really not. It's really it's a confluence of convenience. Basically, the Islamicists have a desire to overturn Western civilization. The Marxists have a desire to overturn Western civilization. They're both anti-capitalists. So it's an alliance of convenience that I guarantee you, if they were to gain power, will end up in civil war between all of those clashing interests. So it's sort of like I think your own often refers to, that the disintegrated epistemology ends up eating its own, right? Just like the French Revolution ended up eating its own this is what's going to happen to these folks. It's an alliance of convenience. It's going to die the second they gain power, and they're going to all be struggling to gain ascendancy, and it's going to be horrible and violent. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen.
No,
it's certainly, and you know what? It's a convenient tool for the democratic socialists to use to guilt people. You know, Islamophobia and, you know, minorities being abused and oppressed are the things that they love to use to cudgel other Americans with. They cudgel them with that, and they make them feel guilty so that they can, you know, get programs passed on them.
One of them, Mark, actually said to me, Trump is just trying to stop savages from coming into the country. Aren't you against savages coming into the country? It's like, okay, you're assuming savages for
what they're assuming is people coming over the Mexican border, brown people are savages simply because they're brown people.
And because Trump tells them that. Right. I mean, you have to keep that in mind.
That's right. He also told them that Ethiopians were eating cats and dogs. What was it, or was it Somalians?
No, it was Haitians. Haitians were eating the cats and dogs.
Haitians were eating the cats and dogs. They're eating.
You say the Somalis are very nasty people, though. From what you know,
there is that the Somalis are very nasty people, and they are gaining power over in Minnesota, according to him. Jenna says I'm a good mimic. Thank you very much. Let's see. Something about Trump captures the imagination of elderly objectivist philosophers. I sort of think I know what it is. I think it's the same thing that captures the imagination of the hardcore MAGA folks, Michael. And it's that they feel like they've been marginalized by the left and condescended to for so long that they're getting revenge. They think the left is the big monster in the room. And perhaps that's been right when they controlled so many of the levers of culture, and not meaning control as in a conspiracy theory. They just happen to gravitate towards those areas of the world, towards education, towards entertainment, which happen to be our information sources. And that makes people feel like they've been marginalized, and now they're getting their big revenge fuck with Trump, who just gives them the middle finger. Are
they getting their big revenge? Hold on. Are they getting a big revenge fuck with the Liam Neeson? That's what I really. That's what
not with Trump. Not with Trump. Not according to South Park. And
okay. And what they ignore, by the way, is they ignore the nationalist threat.
Yes,
the right-wing national threat, and that is what a segue that is for you to get to the next story.
Actually, you sent me this from the Unpopulist. Nationalism is driving the neo-right's virulent anti-Semitic turn. Now, what did you think of this article, Michael? I had issues with it. I got to be honest with you, but I thought there were in essence it's true, but it sort of left out something that I thought needed to be said and wasn't said. But basically, guys. The concept of the article is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in essentializing this, Michael.
How many times does Mark do that? I want to get a tally, Persephone. How many times he says, Michael, what did you think about that? And then he goes on and gives a spiel.
You do that, don't I? Let me just wait for you.
Go ahead. I want to hear your take because you disagreed. I want to hear your take.
I feel bad. I didn't disagree.
You said you have problems with it. I want to know what the problems are.
The problem with it is it's true. Nationalism does lead to anti-Semitism. It leads to anti-immigration, anti-foreign elements entirely. I mean, because if you identify a nation with a particular ethnicity, which the nationalists do, they identify with white Christians. Then you're going to, of necessity, be against other groups, just by their nature. But what I thought was left out of the article, Michael, is that this isn't. It's sort of mentioned. Is this isn't just an issue with nationalism, because the left is highly anti-Semitic as well. It's a problem with collectivism in general. If you think in collectivist terms, you are likely going to see the world in zero-sum terms. You're going to see the world in terms of groups. Individuals are going to be avatars for those groups. And and you're going to think, because things are zero sum, that you gain at the expense of others. And so you're going to isolate certain groups as being responsible for your problems. And you're going to try to seize the levers of power to isolate those groups and increase your own. That's just the problem inherent in collectivism in the political world. Do you disagree?
I think that he mentions the left wing's anti-Semitism in the article.
I said that,
but yeah, so I don't know how much he misses. I mean, the article is not about anti-Semitism in general. It's just about how basically the rise of the groypers here in America, and how the nationalism leads to that. They start off with, they have grievances, they're the victims. There was something else he said. Now it just slipped my mind, and I'm going to have to check because I thought it was a very apt point. Oh, that people are taking their jobs like a zero-sum game. That they view things as a zero-sum game, so that if Jews are successful, because that's one of the things he said, Jews have a tendency to be successful wherever they go, and the people there say, oh, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our money, taking our resources, whatever. I think that's true. I also think that Trump's rhetoric gives rise to this stuff. I think it's also true that the Tucker Carlsons of the world help exacerbate it. These groypers are out there. I can't tell you how many times somebody brings up my last name on social media because it happens to be Jewish. And the funny thing is, 99% of the time, it's some coward hiding behind a pseudonym. And let me just digress a little bit into how much that annoys me. I think there are two things. One, I think there's especially something to being a pussy and being online, running your mouth to people and being rude, and then talk. I've talked about this before, especially the libertarians who then come and say, oh, but the non-aggression principle. I think it's wrong to punch them in the face. I do. But I also think it's very cowardly to antagonize people and then hide behind that. I think there's something very weasel about that. But even without that, when you are online and you've got a fake name, like I can't relate to the type of mentality that uses a fake name to go online and just be rude and talk junk to people. Like, it's just such a cowardly, there's worse words I want to use, but I'm not going to. It's just a cowardly thing to do. And there's a big rise in that. Well, that comes with this groyperism, this right-wing garbage, this, Jew hatred. And they always like to mask it in hatred for Israel or criticism of Israel.
Not Fuentes.
We can't. Not Fuentes.
Fuentes is straight out anti-Semitic.
You think he's gay?
Oh, look, anybody who says women need to shut up.
He doesn't like being around women. Yeah.
Got serious. The guy's an incel, man. Here's the guy's an incel. If he would only, I hate.
He said he's a virgin, right?
Of course he is. Look at him.
He admitted it.
Well, it's just easy to tell.
27 years old.
You could tell it. I'm sorry, but you could tell a guy virgin from a mile away.
Can you tell he's no Liam Neeson?
You can tell he's no Liam Neeson, and that's probably why he's a virgin. It has nothing to do. I guarantee you, it has nothing to do with principles or anything to do with the way American women have sort of fallen off the moral ladder. It has nothing to do with that at all. I guarantee you, he probably has a micro penis, and he's very, very embarrassed to show it to anyone.
Okay, you've heard the rumors. You heard it here, folks. The speculation is live. Nick Fuentes has a micro penis.
It's speculation, folks. So Nick, you can't sue us because we're just it's just our opinion that you're a virgin because you have a micro penis, and you're also angry at the world and hate black people and brown people because you have a micro penis. Now, there are surgeons who could probably take care of that for you, my friend. There's medication you could take that could probably take care of that for you. I just want you to know so that you. I don't know, improve your life. You become a happier person and leave. Wait.
They have medications for that?
No, I was just saying.
So you were lying. Like when you recommend that I take medications that turn out not good.
No, that was real because you're my friend. Nick Fuentes is my enemy.
So you just want him to go out and buy some junk for his junk that doesn't work? All right.
Of course.
Well, at any rate, Robert Naser has given us a $5 super fucking chat, and he says something I agree with wholeheartedly. He said, I understand some people have reasons to use pseudonyms. Sure, no problem with that. He said, but I don't cut the same slack to provocateurs, trolls, a-holes. Use your real name or STFU.
Thank you. That's true. On. That's a very good distinction to make. Yes, sometimes people
I agree.
Because they don't, they have political opinions. And they don't air them in a violent or aggressive fashion, but they're political opinions for which they could probably be fired for at their businesses, and they don't want people to know, what their own personal feelings and thoughts are, and that's legitimate. It's the people who are the trolls who use the secret identities to do bad things to other people. That's what really sucks. Yeah. Did you know that Robert Trzynski is running for Congress in Virginia as a Democrat?
I didn't know as a Democrat. I knew he was running. I like Robert a lot. I think he's a great guy.
I like him too. I like all the stuff that I've ever read from him. I think we got to get him. I know Ariana's not on, doesn't seem to be listening today, but we need to get this guy into the American Capitalist Party. He needs to screw the Democrats and come to the American Capitalist Party.
All right. I would just to kind of get back to the article on nationalism. I thought Ilya Soman, who I know I've interviewed, really like him. I think he made a lot of good points. You know, that Jews are kicked out of countries, and then when they're new to a country, they're blamed for that very thing. They're blamed, they're assumed to not be part of the broader culture. And I thought he did a really good job of explaining that that's not what America has been about since its founding. That there's been hypocrisies and there's been straying, but ultimately it was meant to be an inclusive country.
Yeah, and what I particularly loved was the person he cited, which was George Washington, in an address post-revolution. GW, one of the greatest presidents of all time, folks. I think probably the greatest. I don't know.
Better than Trump?
Trump would disagree, but I would have to say
a lot of people are telling me.
A lot of people are telling you what?
Oh my God. You should have seen Persephone's face when you just said that. That's what Trump says. A lot of people are telling me. A lot of people are.
Oh, is that what he says? Yeah, but you got to do it in a Trump voice. Otherwise, I don't know what you're. I thought you're going on to something else. Anyway, yes, he quotes. Thank you for showing me that very much. Now I can't unsee her embarrassment at me. Yeah, he quotes George Washington, folks. I was trying to find it, but the article's super long, and so I couldn't quite get to it. But it is
you talk, I'll find.
It is a beautiful statement of American principles, spoken, folks.
Oh, he also criticized the Heritage Foundation. You might want to touch on that.
Yes, well, as everybody knows, the Heritage Foundation has been embracing the Groyper movement because they're afraid of alienating them. Michael, that's what I call an organization that no longer has a grasp of principles anymore and is more interested in populism and popularity and keeping followers than they are in maintaining true principles which hold across time. You will not find that at the American Capitalist Party, folks. We do not bend our principles for the sake of popularity. We understand how unpopular liberty is now, but we nevertheless understand it as the greatest innovation since the domestication of fire. And so we still maintain liberty is the greatest thing to happen to humankind. It's a great innovation, and we spread it through the world if possible.
George Washington, in his general orders to the Continental Army issued on the occasion of the end of the Revolutionary War, he said the United States was founded to create, quote, an asylum for the poor and oppressed of all nations and religions. And then in his famous 1790 letter to the congregation of the Rhode Island Toro Synagogue, he said the United States has, quote, an enlarged and liberal policy, and that all possess a like liberty of conscience, and immunities of citizenship. And the United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance.
I love that.
It's great.
Timeless as usual. Washington was, he was not the most educated man in that generation of giants, but he was one of the shrewdest. And he was certainly Republican in the sense that we mean it, meaning he wanted the people to have full and total moral agency over their own lives.
Oh.
He wanted the government to be very small. Washington and Franklin and Adams and Jefferson and
Madison and Hamilton. I really just wanted to show the Washington, but I couldn't do that without.
Why do you got Hamilton in there, and why is he in red?
I don't know. I bought this shirt at the I can't remember the name of the tavern in New York now. I bought it at the tavern where George Washington actually said goodbye to the troops.
I love that
in New York, and I saw this shirt and I had to buy it.
That's amazing.
That tavern was amazing. The things that they have there are awesome. It's right down the street from Alexander Hamilton's grave.
Okay, yes. Is that St. Patrick's? Is he buried at St. Patrick's? Or Trinity? Sorry, he's buried at Trinity.
Trinity. Robert Fulton also buried there.
Interesting bit of information. Yeah, I went to a tavern in Charleston that was a place that George Washington used to frequent. It might have been owned. Was it owned by Paul Revere or John Hancock? Somewhere in that neighborhood. One of the other founders of that generation owned this tavern that Washington used to frequent, just across the bay from Boston. Michael, you sent me something that was a little bit troubling here, but nonetheless quite logical given the times that we're in. That small business owners are losing confidence. Now, I'm going to actually ask your opinion and let you take it away. Go ahead.
All right, hold on 1 second. It's France's Tavern, Fraunces Tavern. Well, yeah, small business.
But I have to say, I feel like Hamilton sort of cancels out all the other guys above him. Just a feel.
Well, they actually, for some reason, I don't know why, you can see they have Hamilton's in red.
I think because he's become the most popular founding father now with all the,
But he's at the bottom. I think I don't know. Maybe it's because he was a dick. But either way, the small businesses, what's the word I'm looking for? Costs, prices are rising at a faster rate than wages are. The labor market's not good. The tariffs are making things more expensive and making the market unpredictable. So despite whatever, there are some good things, GDP growth is fairly good, I guess. And what's the other thing they said? There's still relatively low unemployment, but there's still bad signs. And not only that, but, for the average person, when Trump comes out and talks about how everything's going swimmingly, people pay attention to their own pockets more than they pay attention to Trump.
Yeah, so the lie it doesn't really pass over, folks, and hopefully that comes out in the 2026 election. But part of the reason for that, Michael, is remember what Bob said yesterday when I asked him what happens if we go down another 0.25 basis points in the Federal Reserve, and Bob said something that I'd failed to consider, but was nonetheless true. Well, everybody's going to think it's great. The GDP will go up. The interest rates will make people spend because they'll be losing money, of course, if they save. So it's giving the appearance of a robust economy when that is, in fact, what is not happening. Bubbles are being created that are going to burst, and they're going to burst at some point. Whether or not they burst before the Trump administration is over, I don't know. Some folks that I know who are private traders are telling me to get out of the market this year as soon as possible because they think bubbles are going to be bursting all over the place very shortly. Certainly, Trump has the inclination to oust Powell, put in somebody who's going to do his bidding, and probably bring down interest rates even further and further and further and further, which is just going to cause more malinvestment, more misallocation, misallocation of capital.
Nice.
Thank you. And it's going to cause major issues. What were you going to show me her face being embarrassed?
I just did it.
Okay. It's gonna cause problems down the road, folks. And for these private businesses, but what people don't understand, Michael, is these little businesses, they live on the margins. I mean, they are really on the margins.
Yeah.
And they're not like economies of scale that are lobbying the government and have, and could absorb all of these costs. That's not the case with these little businesses that live on the margins, and they are going to go, and they are still pretty much the backbone of what makes America go. Even though I hate the fact that Republicans always have to focus on little small businesses to make them appear like, they're not in it for the big businessman. They're in it for the everyday guy. The fact is that changes in tariffs and changes in inputs that come into America that make things more expensive for them, that's going to eliminate hundreds and hundreds of businesses, perhaps even thousands. I mean, so this is a very scary thing for them to have to deal with, such a chaotic economic policy. Now, I, as a capitalist, don't think the government should have an economic policy, because that means they are controlling economics. I think it's up to the individuals to trade with whom they choose. That should be the only thing the government should do, is honor the contract, protect property rights, and that's pretty much as far as it goes. Persephone, that's actually a factual comment. Glenn Beck interviewed an AI George Washington A muscular. We have to get a picture of that. Persephone, if you can grab a picture of that and perhaps share your screen, I got to see what a muscular George Washington looks like.
I don't like the AI, the way that it's spelled like that. Like, I don't like, I never did. When they put the I want to see the cross on the top and a cross on the bottom. I don't want to see this one line. It looks like a small L. How can you distinguish between a capital I and a small L when the capital I is written like that?
Context, Michael.
That could be Al.
Not in the context.
The context here is clear. I'll give you that, but it isn't always.
Washington is tougher than you can make him look. That's true. Listen, he was legendarily strong. He was a great horseman. He had balls of brass. Now, I heard this from people generations later.
Who are you, Trump? I have sources.
I know.
Me.
I have sources that go 17 generations back to Martha Washington. Oh, come on.
That doesn't even look like George Washington.
No, it doesn't really. It doesn't. And it's not even really. It's not even really what I would consider muscular.
No, I'm very disappointed in Diego for even bringing that to our attention, to be quite honest.
There is, have you ever been to Mount Vernon yet?
I haven't. You should know I haven't. Like, you've asked me previously if I've gone, and I've said no. And since then, I haven't gone anywhere. So, I mean, like, do you think that I take off to Mount Vernon and just don't tell anybody?
I had no idea. I forgot. Well, there's a museum there that has a wax figure of George Washington that is phenomenal. It is the spitting image of him. Not like that. It will blow your mind. I think it's great. They also have his teeth on display, by the way.
The wooden teeth?
They're not wooden.
That's all codswallop. I've heard.
They
weren't actually wooden. Yeah, I've heard that. What are they? Ivory or something?
Well, they're ivory. They're a mixture of ivory and cow's teeth.
See, I don't think I'd want that in my mouth. I'd rather just be gums.
Well, no. When you see it, Michael, it's in a like an iron apparatus with springs that looks like a torture instrument. It doesn't look like something that you'd put in your mouth to actually be able to chew food or live comfortably in. I could see why he would not have that in his mouth most of the time. Although if you read Gore Vidal's book on the founding generation, I think it's Aaron Burr, the book called Burr. Of course, Gore Vidal loves Aaron Burr, and the founders take a backseat to the brilliant Aaron Burr. He describes Washington when he smiled as having black teeth, like the wood that he put in his mouth made his mouth black. Also, I think bullshit, but nonetheless,
you're not going for that. I hope that you're going to.
I've seen the teeth.
All right. I'm very hoping. I'm hoping that you get to the how the Trump administration wants to crack down on misinformation on social media. I'm hoping we get to that because I put it in the title of the show mainly.
Yeah, let me get to that then right now. I was pulling up another article about Trump's false proclamations, but let me find what was it you wanted again, Michael?
The crackdown on misinformation.
That's right. Yeah. So Reason Magazine, folks, it just published something. Trump is using misinformation censorship playbook Republicans attacked Biden for. Now, this just goes back to everything that we talk about, Michael. When one administration pushes the boundaries of power, it's used by the next administration. And that power just it's elastic and keeps growing and growing and growing as each administration abuses the powers that the previous administration made a precedent. And here we have Trump now going after social media platforms for the Department of Homeland Security in particular. Kristi Noem is turning out to be quite the little tyrant, isn't she?
She's such a jerk.
And Pam Bondi, I mean, these women are turning out to be quite the tyrants. And so they're upset, of course, that apps were created to let people know where ICE was, and that I think Facebook had enabled people to interface with each other to let people know where ICE was. And so they want to crack down on this kind of stuff. And again, like the Biden administration cracked down on a lot of the speculation around COVID, there is no such thing as a government peacefully telling a social media organization not do something. It's not peaceful. It always comes with an inherent threat. Why? Because we live in a regulatory state, and the state has power over these huge corporations. Michael, I always consider it super funny when people say corporations control America, and when I come back with who has the guns.
Do they say it in that voice? I like that voice.
They do. Corporations control America, and I say, who has the guns? Who has the guns? Because to me, it's the guys with the guns that control things. And if you got to pay off the guy with the gun so he won't point the gun at you, isn't that sort of understandable?
Well, that's what the point that they make is you can't know when social media companies then make decisions like, take your idea earlier about social media is, I don't want to use the word censor, but monitoring their own platforms and kicking off or getting rid of people that are dangerous or saying things out of turn, whatever. But when the government's pressuring them, then even if when they do that, you don't know if it's because of the government or if it's their own decision. But the Trumpsters, evidently they're upset about misinformation, about illegal aliens, about ICE, and AI deep fakes and whatever. So they're starting the jawboning of their own. And you know what's funny is I read this article. What I have not seen, and this is going to be a shocker. You're going to be shocked by this. I have not seen the legions of Republicans complaining about how wrong it is for the government to pressure social media. I don't know, what's maybe they're just not. They don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't know.
That's probably the case. They don't know.
Yeah. They just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's it, because he's a hero after all. He's a hero. Biden was the evil one. Did you see, by the way, that Trump gave a speech yesterday and brought up Biden? I don't know if I sent you this article.
No.
But he comes out and he says something like, should it be Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? I think he's a sleepy son of a bitch or something. Like, dude, you won the election. You've been in office almost a year. Like, why are we still talking about Biden?
This guy has single-handedly lowered the
national IQ.
The national IQ. That's a better way of putting it, I think. He's definitely lowered the form that political discourse takes now. Because now you got that woman from Texas who wants to run for Senate now. What's her name? You know who I'm talking about. JC. Her initials are JC. Somebody give it to me out there.
Martinez or something? That horrible woman?
She's a horrible woman indeed. No, she's part of sort of the woke squad, but not quite the woke squad. She's super crass. She called a governor in one of the states Hot Wheels, because he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, let me look this up.
Anyway, she's trying to run for Senate. She's trying to challenge
in Texas.
In Texas, I know her name. It's just on the tip of my tongue. And
I know too. I can't think of it.
Crass as hell. I mean. Unbelievably crass.
Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you very much. And it's Trump and the allowance of the MAGA movement for Trump's political rhetoric that has enabled this kind of stuff to become commonplace, man. It's so gross. Thank you, Ian Gilmore, for saying that. Crockett. Yes. Thank you, Akira. It's Trump that has lowered the tenor of the debate. I mean, now it's just so crass. I wonder, I literally think, is it possible for a conceptual candidate, somebody who comes from the Capitalist Party, would be talking concepts? Is it even possible for the electorate or anybody from either tribe to understand concepts or connect concepts anymore? Or is it just about being a mean girl and bullying people?
I was actually just thinking about this recently after watching the debate with Liquid Zulu and Dave Smith, because you ultimately have to make a choice. So if you're in a debate with someone like Dave or with someone like Trump, not to say they're the same, but whatever, that doesn't matter. The point is, people that engage in logical fallacies bring up irrelevant information. You have to make a decision. When they start talking nonsense, or if they say, oh, it's just obvious, or a lot of people are saying it, whatever, or they insult you, do you address it and get off of the topic that you're actually talking about? Or do you ignore it and let it stand and address your position? And it's a very difficult decision to make. Like, for instance, when Zulu debates Dave, I would have personally called Dave out on this immediately. Dave says, oh, in objectivism, you guys just start with axioms and deduce all your conclusions in a strict logical chain. That's not true. I would have said, Dave, that's not true. But that had nothing to do with the debate that they were having. Right? So do you stay on or do you correct?
I think that's interesting. That's interesting because that was definitely an issue that I had with him, especially when he didn't understand how Rand formed her ethical premises.
Well, he makes faces and then he says, "Oh, this is so stupid." He does things that are not appropriate for a debate. He was on trigonometry. I didn't see the second time, Ian. I did see him debate Konstantin Kisin, I think, on Piers Morgan, and I thought Konstantin Kisin handled him. I thought Coleman Hughes handled him as well.
Thank you, Lee, for the super fucking chat. That is £4.99, which I think is worth more than dollars at this point, Michael.
Are they?
More than dollars, yeah. Read that out loud because I don't know what she's talking about.
She says that she went to the cinema to see FNAF2 in her Codswallop shirt today, while Seth is telling her that you've been talking about her behind her back.
Okay. Yes. Okay, but what's FNAF2?
Does it matter? Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2?
Yeah.
I heard that was I heard number 1 was bad. So Lee's going to see the second.
She already went.
You can't get your money back there, Lee. I'm so sorry for that. I think you might have missed a super. No, you didn't. All right, folks. So let's go on to the next article from the Free Press. Wow. I mean, this whole thing with Russia and Ukraine is driving me insane. I don't know about you.
No, it's not.
But especially after the Witkoff leaks about how to handle Trump, him telling Putin how to handle Trump, or him telling people how to. All you got to do is just flatter him. You're going to get basically what you want. That should be a come to Jesus moment for the MAGA movement. If you haven't seen that in plain sight already, I mean, it's already there for anybody who has eyes to see. Witkoff acknowledging this and basically leveraging on behalf of the enemy, the bad guys, in effect, to let them know how to get what they want from him. That's just bad. This is so corrupt. It's unbelievable. But anyway, the Free Press says Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky flatly rejected any plan that requires Ukraine to give up territory to Russia. Hello. I mean, Putin's even agitating for them to give up territory they haven't even conquered yet.
Yeah.
This is how disgusting it is. But this is getting by with Witkoff and this is getting by with Trump is unbelievably unjust to me. Rebuffing a key element of Trump's proposed peace deal. Did you know that he's made peace in 150 wars since he's been president?
I thought it was 175, but
that's
we're quibbling over very particular things right now.
I think that's closer to the truth, though. He proposed a peace deal and signaling Kyiv won't bow to pressure from Washington to Moscow. Thank you, Kyiv, for having balls that Washington does not have. Not Washington, but the people of Washington.
You've already commented on George Washington's balls.
We're made of brass. While some provisions of the U.S.-backed plan have softened, Zelensky and European leaders insist that Putin cannot be allowed to redraw borders by force, a stance that could doom the proposal entirely. Good. It deserves to be doomed. It shouldn't happen. When, if ever, is Trump going to realize that he is being played by Putin like a violin?
Like a fine-tuned Stradivarian?
Yeah.
Stradivarius? I don't know what they're called. Whatever.
Yeah.
He's not going to realize it because he's just dumb. It bothers me far more the Witkoff stuff because he's actually, employee of the United States government. So for him to be acting that way with a foreign country irks me. But the stuff in Ukraine, a lot of people are get very wound up about it. That's just not where my area of interest lies, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Putin is a butcher. I think that he's wrong here. I think he invaded Ukraine. All of this stuff I think are true. I just think that I have a limited capacity for what I can focus my attention on. And right now I'm watching Persephone play with her hair. So I just don't have the time to focus on Ukraine as much as I probably should. No, in seriousness, no. It's just not where I put my energies when thinking about all the injustices that are going on in the United States of America.
Oh, he's playing 4D chess, as Akira Felix points out to me. Thank you, Akira. That's right. He is. I don't get it because I can't play 4D chess. So I know that I know Trump's genius at negotiating is somehow at work here, Michael, giving Putin everything he wants, encouraging him to invade other countries in Eastern Europe, probably with impunity. I think that's somehow he's got a plan. He's got a plan. I'm just not privy to it. Anyway,
Putin or Trump? Who did you say had the plan? I was reading Kathy Cassio. Kathy Cassio said the whole situation is ridiculous. Russia invaded a sovereign nation. Russia doesn't get to make demands. Why is this not clear? Well, I would just alter what you said partially, Kathy. Russia shouldn't get to make any demands, but clearly they do get to because, well, Trump is specifically saying that they are in a much stronger bargaining position and, that sort of thing. So they do get to make demands. Whether they should or not is a different story. And on that,
yeah, they should.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly.
They're the aggressor. The object of the war for the Ukraine should be to smash the aggressor until it surrenders. And that means unconditionally, and that means withdrawing troops completely from every area of the Ukraine that they have at this point possessed by war.
The thing is, Mark, is Trump always says, right, that Russia would have never invaded if he were president. Okay, so you're president now. Why don't they get out if they're so afraid of you? And
not
you're
only
such a badass, just get out.
I think he was trying to project the badassery, but I also think he was trying to assert a sort of claim that he's the alpha dog in the relationship between he and Putin. That's sort of what he always tries to do. And what Putin has been demonstrating for the last year is that he is in fact the alpha dog. He's the guy who's pulling the fucking strings, not Trump. Because look at all the drone attacks he's done inside Kyiv. He's actually randomly attacking citizens, which is a fucking war crime. And Trump is still siding with this guy. I'm mad at him. He's mad at him 1 minute, but it doesn't matter. When he expresses his anger and rage and frustration with Putin on social media and or in the establishment media, what does Putin do? He sends more drone attacks into the Ukraine. He's deliberately showing him who the tough guy is in the room. That's what's going on here, and the sooner Trump gets that, the better. Of course, he's too much of a malignant narcissist to understand this stuff, or to have the introspective capacity to understand this stuff. You also sent me something from the Morning Dispatch, which is disturbing, Michael. I have to say it's disturbing.
We're right at the end, so I don't know if we have time for it. If you do, then go ahead. I just want to
be real quick. This afternoon, the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee will meet to make its final decision of the year on whether to raise, lower, or hold interest rates ready. It's a decision that will require taking stock of the U.S. economy's overall health, but the committee is navigating with an unusually incomplete map. There's relatively healthy wage and GDP growth, but also concerning job numbers and deep anxiety about the future of the economy among Americans, and concern that the U.S. is becoming a K-shaped economy in which the wealthy are thriving while the working class households struggle with the basics. Michael, they shouldn't be lowering interest rates at all. In fact, they should probably be raising them. This is a very unpleasant condition for the government because it makes the debt they have to pay back more expensive. It also screws up some of the bankers that are politically connected because they don't get those cheap dollars first off, and so they can't benefit from those dollars initially. But it's what we have to do. We have to raise interest rates, folks. We have to trim the fat. And it's ugly. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be dislocations, and there's going to be discomfort like there is with any kind of real growth. But it's the only way to get out of this morass. And right now, there's no political will in the world to do it.
Yep. I just realized I didn't have my pre-show coffee. I've been wondering why I feel so slumpy, and now I know.
And thank you for telling us that, Michael. Capitalist thought for the day, folks. Capitalism is about human liberty, and I think liberty itself is derivative of reason. So it's a reason-based society where the culture and the society hold reason as a primary value, and they do everything in their power to protect reason against force. And they do this with the law, right? The law is what protects individual rights, which are freedoms from force from other people, so that you can be free to act on your own rational judgment. That's the kind of world that we want to see. It's not a world of equal outcomes. It's a world in which people who work hard and have the energy to succeed do succeed. It's a place where if you have the potential, you have the environment which will enable you to realize that potential should you have the energy to do it. And that's the kind of world we want to bring. Not one where everybody is equal, but where people are metaphysically unequal, legally equal, but we all share in the benefits of that inequality because they are inventing and innovating and trading with us and making us better all the time. That's my capitalist thought for the day. Do you have a question, Michael?
I do. And please go to YouTube and answer this question. And remember to join me at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time for Everyday Ethics on this very channel. The question is, if you could be any type of animal, which one would it be?
Very good. Okay, that's an interesting question. Lee, I just have to say something before you go. Water is still unsafe to drink in your city, so you're living off Coke Zero. Nope, bad. Get bottled water instead. Okay, do the bottled water, don't do the Coke Zero. All right, folks, you got 23 hours to recheck your premises. If you have any statism left in you at all, get rid of it by the time we see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad place, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Welcome to the Capitalist Corner. Be a member, please. Remember to like and subscribe. Remember to share from YouTube across social media platforms. We need to get this information and these ethics, these ideas out there in the world because we want you to prosper. That's what we want. So until tomorrow, folks, peace.